Wilson, and the topic that we're going to discuss is the New World Order with respect to truckload capacity. So, Steve, can you first talk about complexity related to trucking?
Well, I think trucking obviously is a key part of the supply chain, and supply chains, particularly due to e-commerce and of course through broader global sourcing, those two trends have come in to add complexity. So what you're seeing are additional nodes in the supply chain, particularly for inventory. People are deploying more warehouses out there. They're putting inventory in different locations, and of course, because you don't want to necessarily increase that inventory if you don't have to. And generally, there's a rule of thumb that says as you add more warehouses or deploy more inventory, you have to have more. As you deploy more warehouses and inventory stocking locations, as a rule, your inventory goes up. And so folks are also trying to mitigate those effects. And so what they're trying to do is more frequent orders and improve their visibility. So all those factors are coming together with the global sourcing footprint. Uh, Also, NAFTA, and that's all. Those are trends that have been there for a while. But now you're adding this e-commerce effect with much more inventory deployment locations, a desire for direct-to-customer shipping and faster response and all that. So you're seeing complexity come between those two forces. Um, what's also happening is you've got this truckload market that's really different now than it was even in a few years ago in 2015 and 2016. Most of these factors were known about, such as the driver shortage that's been talked about by the trucking industry for years. But it's also due to a growing economy, and it's also due to the electronic logging requirements. And so now that there's much more stricter compliance towards hours of service. Those hours of service regulations have been really in place since around 2015, but now with ELDs, it's a lot more strict. It's easier to enforce, frankly, with the electronic logs. It's harder to fake. So that's causing a capacity shortfall as well. So you've got multiple factors. So when you take this requirement for improved service, which drives higher complexity, and you put it against also a confounding factor of the capacity shortage on truckload, then you absolutely have a need to collaborate. Because that's the only way to really solve the problem without just horribly increasing the prices. So there's all sorts of collaboration opportunities out there that folks can work together. And it's not only the outbound market, but it's also the inbound market as well. So it's not just you shipping to your customers, but it's also your vendors and suppliers shipping to you as well. And there's multiple strategies that work well together there. I think you'll hear a lot of words on shipper of choice and basically being carrier friendly, and that's still all very valid. Historically, full truckload carriers have come into shippers and have had to wait at the dock or get stuck or delayed or anything like that, and they kind of absorbed a lot of the slack or issues or variability in the supply chain, and it's been born downstream, and the carriers feel the brunt of that. So making your operations more amenable to carriers and essentially allowing them to get better utilization and stopping the delays. So whether it's through increasing the receiving appointments, allowing trailers, uh, making sure that they're unloaded faster, those sorts of, also giving them additional notice. What you really see, I think, in the capacity side, what you saw is the spot market for truckload transportation really leads everything, and then the contract market follows. And what you had is a lot of kind of last minute stuff, and that's really driving the spot market, and what always drove the spot market. So there's a need to kind of improve your planning of your transportation needs as well, so that you can give carriers a bit more notice, a couple of days more notice, if you will, on shipment, and then they can plan their operations better and work with contract rates when possible. Of course, that's running head-on into complexity and requirement for service because we're moving away from that kind of push mentality to more pull mentality. So again, you've got two different factors running head-on to each other causing this problem. So really the only true solution without adding on to cost is collaboration.
Do you have any recommendations for effective transportation?
I think it's working with your customers, it's working with your suppliers on how to make uh, your shipping activities more predictable or more you know, visible early, if you will. So being able to give carriers sooner notice. It's working on efficient loading and unloading so that carriers are not stuck with a lot of dwell time, and that's killing their utilization. And what you're finding here is that carriers now, because the pendulum has swung clearly onto the carrier side, is they're going to those shippers who are harming their utilization or are difficult to deal with, and they're hitting them up with the largest rate increases, and they're hitting them up with, and or just simply saying, hey, we're going to move to a more profitable customer. Um, and no customer, no shipper really is an island because you're shipping, again, you're receiving and you're shipping outbound. And so sometimes the only way to solve these issues is to collaborate either with your upstream or downstream partners to make everything more efficient. Now, of course, that collaboration means that you've got to probably come up with some sort of financial incentives there, and that's always going to add complexity. Again, that's important. Otherwise, you're just going to feel the brunt of the capacity, and the costs will skyrocket as they have and continue to get worse.
Thanks, Steve. And could you provide a brief background of yourself?
Sure. I'm Director of Solution Design at NFI Logistics. Um, what I do is I work with our sales force and our operations teams to come up with and design solutions for customers in dedicated fleet and warehousing. And I've been doing that for close to 20 years, starting way back in the day at the old Caliber Logistics and through various other companies. It's a very entrepreneurial job. I love solving problems for customers, and I love the opportunity to work with lots of different customers. And I fell in love with that aspect of the job when I first got into third-party logistics, and that's why I stay.